Hello, citizens of Oklahoma and of America. Welcome to my first podcast of Let's Get It Right, okay? Today, we're going to start talking about a project right off the get-go. And so we're just going to get right down to business on this. In Perry, Oklahoma, there is a arena that has just started construction. And anyways, let's just say that things are not exactly as they should be. So the first thing I want to kind of get into is what I'm going to talk about here. First and foremost, when I refer to this city, I'm referring to anybody that's associated with the city of Perry, whether they be elected officials, city management, or staff, or any other hired contractor. When I talk about the owner, we're going to be talking about the people who are building this arena. And not getting any specifics today because I want to kind of just get a general overview of the issue that we're looking at hand right now. So anyways, the project, as I said, is an arena. It's a 100,000 square foot, a little plus arena, intended to obviously bring in people to enjoy equestrian type activities. However, this project has been started off on the wrong foot. The project is required to have an architect stamp on this project as part of this Oklahoma state law. I have in my hands drawings that I received from a FOIA request from the city, in which we actually have in there two different architect stamps on two different drawings, not even exactly 100% the same, but similar. Even an engineer's stamp, which was, I think, required by the city. However, during my FOIA request and the drawings that I've obtained, I researched into those architects and engineer and found something quite disturbing in the fact that all three of those design professional stamps and signatures were all forged. Everything that was turned in by the owner to the city of Perry was done, basically with fraud intent to get a permit without actually getting the proper engineering or architectural licensure that's in hand. Also in my hands are letters I've gotten from those architects and engineers based on the fact that they had no idea this project was even existing, let alone the fact that they had nothing to do with this project. So anyways, this information I found out a week ago and confirmed by Monday last week, and even went down to the city and sat down with the city attorney and the city manager for Perry and presented to them my findings on these forged documents. They were basically saying they were happy that I brought this information to them and that they were going to give this owner an opportunity to explain what was going on and to, I guess, address these issues. However, over the week, very little has happened as far as getting any information from the city about, where this project was at. The owner said they were going to bring in some documents showing that the project was legit. However, nothing has been produced to me at this point. They have a meeting coming up, a city council meeting, in which I was asking if I could attend and speak at this meeting. I was informed at that point that since the state had got involved, and what I mean by the state Board of Architecture and the Board of Engineers, for which I also put a complaint in, who are now investigating it for the fraud, was under investigation on their part. So therefore, the city has determined that since the state, which they're referring to these two boards, which is not the entire state by any means, just people who are more concerned about the fact of forgery in the architecture and engineer stamps. So they have taken a stance now of where, since the state has taken their investigation, they are determining that they don't need to have any further conversation with me about this until the state has determined whatever it is they're going to determine. However, this is a bit of a false statement. The permit was, by all means, it was issued by the city. It went through the city processes. There was no state process involved in the permit. And therefore, this should be something that the city should also be taking their own actions, for which time that they are not. So the things that need to be taken place are, one, they needed to confirm that these actual stamps were a frauds, are forged stamps, which we have the thing, so the dot letters for. They could easily have called the design professionals involved and confirm that for themselves. They can go back to their own set of drawings from which I got my drawings from, and they could have confirmed that those drawings had, again, those forged stamps. So, but they determined at this point they're going to wait for the state to come to its determination, which is kind of absurd in lots of ways. But on the flip side, they should have still taken their own action. One, they should have put a stop work order on this until they resolved the architect stamp, which is required by law by the owner, the developer, and take their actions that way to make sure that they're not proceeding with something that's probably not meeting state adopted building codes. So this is what they could have done, but have chosen not to. Therefore, and they've also said that they don't really want to be hearing from me at their city council meeting because the state is involved. So I decided to make this my first and foremost podcast in which I am going to start addressing government issues with the city of Perry. So on my end, what I'm going to do at this point, we are going to take this to the public as what the reason I'm putting this podcast together for. And, we'll let the general public start knowing what's going on with this project in the city of Perry. I am also going to be inviting these individuals that are involved in this project, the owner, the contract inspector, the city management, and the city council. And we're going to give them an opportunity to come sit down with me on this podcast, and that way they can share to you what they are thinking and what they believe needs to happen or should happen, and I can question them, and we can hopefully get down to the bottom of what's going on here. This is a project that I know has got some city agreements for economic development, and so obviously the city has its own vested interest in this, just as well as the owner has his own vested interest in this. Now, I know there's going to be people out there going to say that I'm only doing this to cause harm or to stop a project. On the flip side, this broadcast is about creating solutions and getting through things and doing things correctly and right. And so my goal with this is to not stop this project, but vice versa, is to get this project to meet local building codes and be a safe place for people to come view the events that are there. I do believe that with the city and the owner that this could be a good thing for the city of Perry and should be a good thing for the city of Perry. But it needs to be done correctly. It needs to be done safely, and it needs to meet the laws. And the first and foremost is that it needs a qualified architect. I have looked over these drawings, and I would be the first to say that these drawings are substandard for any architect. Thus, what caused me to start looking at the architect stamps to begin with. So anyways, I hope you all join with me and we can dive into this particular situation. We're also going to be looking at situations throughout Oklahoma and hopefully making some good changes in the state of Oklahoma and in this case, the city of Perry. So I appreciate your time and we look forward to having you come back and join us once again. Thank you.